Subscribe to our channel by clicking the subscribe button. Click the bell button and enjoy the latest uploads.
आज हम सिर्फ 2 मिनट के अंदर आपको इस मामले की पूरी जानकारी देंगे। हम आपको ये बताएंगे कि रोहिंग्या मुसलमान कौन है, ये भारत में कैसे आए और ताजा विवाद क्या है। लेकिन सबसे पहले आपको इस मामले से जुड़ा हुआ एक लेटेस्ट अपडेट दे देते हैं। सुप्रीम कोर्ट में रोहिंग्या मुसलमानों के समर्थन वाली एक याचिका दायर हुई है, जिसमें अपील की गई है कि रोहिंग्या मुसलमानों को डिपोर्ट न करने के लिए सरकार को निर्देश दिए जाएं। इस याचिका पर आज सुनवाई हुई और सुप्रीम कोर्ट ने अब 11 सितंबर तक केंद्र सरकार से जवाब देने को कहा है। इससे पहले भारत सरकार ने कहा था कि वो पूरे देश में रह रहे करीब 40,000 रोहिंग्या मुसलमानों को वापस उनके देश भेजने पर विचार कर रही है। यानी इस समय हमारे देश में 40,000 रोहिंग्या मुसलमान रह रहे हैं। इसी के बाद सुप्रीम कोर्ट में याचिका दायर हुई, जिसमें कहा गया कि रोहिंग्या मुसलमान भारत में रजिस्टर्ड शरणार्थी हैं और उन्हें वापस भेजना संविधान के आर्टिकल 14 और आर्टिकल 21 का उल्लंघन है। संविधान का आर्टिकल 14 हमें समानता का अधिकार देता है और आर्टिकल 21 जीने का अधिकार देता है। लेकिन इन तमाम तर्कों के बावजूद सरकार को आशंका है कि अवैध प्रवासी आतंकवादी संगठनों में शामिल हो सकते हैं, इसलिए इन्हें वापस भेज दिया जाना चाहिए। अब आपको बहुत संक्षेप में ये बताते हैं कि रोहिंग्या कौन है और उनकी समस्याएं क्या हैं। रोहिंग्या खुद को अलग नस्लीय समूह मानते हैं, जिनकी अलग भाषा और अलग संस्कृति है। रोहिंग्या खुद को म्यांमार के रखाइन राज्य का निवासी मानते हैं। ज्यादातर रोहिंग्या मुसलमान हैं, लेकिन कुछ रोहिंग्या अन्य धर्मों को भी मानते हैं। जून से अक्टूबर 2012 के बीच रोहिंग्या लोगों के खिलाफ म्यांमार में बड़े पैमाने पर हिंसा हुई। 2012 में 1,40,000 रोहिंग्या लोग विस्थापित हुए। अब भी करीब 1,20,000 रोहिंग्या लोग म्यांमार में रखाइन के राहत शिविरों में रह रहे हैं। म्यांमार में 10 लाख से ज्यादा रोहिंग्या लोग हैं और म्यांमार उन्हें अपना नागरिक नहीं मानता। म्यांमार में रोहिंग्या मुसलमानों के खिलाफ दोबारा हिंसा शुरू हो गई है और उसकी वजह यह है कि 25 अगस्त को करीब 150 लोगों ने हथियारों के साथ पुलिस के 24 कैंप्स पर हमला किया। म्यांमार के रखाइन राज्य में हुए इस हमले में 71 लोगों की मौत हो गई। ये हमला अराकान रोहिंग्या साल्वेशन आर्मी नामक एक आतंकवादी संगठन ने किया था, जिसके सरगना का नाम है अताउल्ला। अताउल्ला एक रोहिंग्या मुस्लिम है जो पाकिस्तान के कराची में पैदा हुआ था और मक्का में पला बढ़ा है। लेकिन बात सिर्फ यहीं खत्म नहीं होती। रोहिंग्या मुसलमानों के साथ पाकिस्तान के आतंकवादी संगठनों के भी लिंक्स हैं, उनके साथ संपर्क बना हुआ है। सूत्रों के मुताबिक पाकिस्तान के आतंकवादी संगठन बांग्लादेश के शरणार्थी शिविरों में रहने वाले रोहिंग्या मुसलमानों को आतंकवादी बना रहे हैं और उनका इस्तेमाल भी कर रहे हैं। ये एक बहुत खतरनाक स्थिति है। अब आप समझ गए होंगे कि रोहिंग्या मुसलमानों को भारत की सरकार एक खतरा क्यों मानती है। हालांकि इस समस्या का एक दूसरा पक्ष भी है। ये बात सच है कि देश भर में रेफ्यूजीज के तौर पर रहने वाले रोहिंग्या मुसलमानों के हालात बहुत खराब हैं, लेकिन ये एक अंतर्राष्ट्रीय मामला है जिसका हल अंतर्राष्ट्रीय स्तर पर ही होना चाहिए। किसी को भी शरणार्थी बनाने से पहले भारत को उसके हर प्रभाव या दुष्प्रभाव के बारे में ठीक से विचार करना होगा।
दो 2012 में जब म्यांमार में रोहिंग्या मुसलमानों के खिलाफ हिंसा हुई तो इनमें से करीब 40,000 लोग भारत में चले आए और अब ये लोग भारत के करीब करीब हर हिस्से में बसे हुए हैं। ऐसे ही रोहिंग्या मुसलमानों का एक ग्रुप हरियाणा के बल्लभगढ़ के मुलेहिड़ी गांव में आकर बसा हुआ है। आज से करीब 5 साल पहले यहां सिर्फ 4 परिवार आए थे, लेकिन धीरे धीरे इनकी संख्या बढ़ती गई और आज यहां करीब 47 परिवारों के 150 लोग रहते हैं।
आए तो 3-4 परिवार, फिर इतने सारे लोग यहाँ कैसे आए? सब अलग अलग जगह
से इकट्ठा हो गया एक साथ में।
तो कैसे सब आपस में?
हरियाणा में आया, कुछ मेवात से आया, कुछ शाहीन से आया, कुछ बुढ़ाना से आया, कुछ ऐसा करते करते इकट्ठा हो गया।
ऐसा करते करते इकट्ठा हो गए। कितने परिवार हैं अभी
यहाँ पे? टोटल 47 परिवार है।
और वो बना है
ID कार्ड सबके पास है।
वोटर कार्ड है?
हाँ जी, सबके पास है। रिफ्यूजी कार्ड है।
रिफ्यूजी कार्ड।
इनकी आजीविका का साधन कबाड़ी का काम है। ये लोग इलाके से कबाड़ उठाते हैं और आगे अपने ठेकेदार को बेचते हैं। पिछले 4-5 वर्षों से इनकी रोजी रोटी ऐसे ही चल रही है।
तो अभी लड़ाई चल रहा ना, इधर आ नहीं सकता। बांग्लादेश और बर्मा के बीच लेके बहुत गोली चला हो रहा है। इधर पार होने नहीं दे रहा। कुछ लोगों को पार हो गया, मतलब इधर नहीं आ सक रहा।
लेकिन बल्लभगढ़ के इस इलाके में अब इन लोगों की वजह से सांप्रदायिक तनाव हो रहा है। शुक्रवार को ईद के मौके पर इनके ठेकेदार ने इन्हें 2 भैंसें काटने के लिए दी, जिसके बाद यहां तनाव हो गया। आरोप है कि गांव के लोगों ने इन लोगों के साथ मारपीट भी की।
चार भैंस लेके आए।
हाँ, गाँव वाला ने मना कर दिया, यहाँ मत काटियो, ठीक है। हम लोग काटने नहीं दे रहे, जिसने भेजा उसको वापस लौटाने के लिए देने जा रहा हूँ। तो फिर हम लोग को यहाँ से आके मार दौड़ कर आ गए। जाने के टाइम पे 4 बंदा को लेके गया, ले जाके जंगल पे ले गया 4 बंदा को। वहाँ ले जाके बहुत मारा पीटा किया। उसी के बाद ये लोग को बोल रहा, अगर ये बात किसी मीडिया को, किसी चौकी पे, किसी सीआई वाला को बोलेगा तो जान से मार दूंगे। सब
गांव वाले इस बात से नाराज हैं कि सड़क पर या खुले में किसी जानवर को काटने की इजाजत कैसे दी जा सकती है। गांव वालों को तो यहाँ तक आरोप है कि ये लोग सरकारी जमीन पर अवैध रूप से बसे हुए हैं।
इनकी चेन है जी बहुत लंबी। कोई मेवात से है, कोई नूह से है, कोई दिल्ली से है, कोई कश्मीर से है। इनका एक चेन बनी ओढ़ है। वो चेन की हमें भी पता आज तक नहीं है कि इनका ठेकेदार है कौन। इन मोमडरों को पैसे देते रहता है, 100-200 रुपये में लालच है, ये बस गए, जबकि जमीन सरकारी है।
भारत में अवैध रूप से बसे ये लोग तब तक अपने देश में वापस नहीं जाना चाहते हैं जब तक वहां शांति न हो जाए।
कभी सोचा है कि यहाँ से वापस अपने देश भी जाएंगे?
शांति हो जाएगी तो जाएंगे, और शांति ना होगा तो कैसे जाएंगे? मरने के लिए क्यों?
कहने के लिए तो इन लोगों के पास संयुक्त राष्ट्र द्वारा जारी किया गया रिफ्यूजी कार्ड भी है, लेकिन भारत सरकार कह चुकी है कि इस कार्ड का कोई मतलब नहीं है।
We can't keep on accepting illegal migrants indefinitely. We must have a system in place. So what I have answered in the parliament is based on the positions of law which we have. So I would like to tell those organizations who are criticizing the government, people of India, please don't accuse India of intolerance. Don't accuse India of violation of the human rights. We value human rights.
हालांकि बहुत से मानवाधिकार कार्यकर्ता ये मानते हैं कि रोहिंग्या मुसलमानों को शरण देना भारत का फर्ज बनता है।
इंडिया का फर्ज बनता है एक रीजनल पावर होने के नाते, म्यांमार और म्यांमार के लोगों के दोस्त होने के नाते, और एक इंटरनेशनल स्टेज पे एक बर्जनिंग पावर होने के नाते कि हम ऐसी एक ह्यूमैनिटेरियन ट्रेजेडी में उनका साथ दें और उन्हें डिपोर्ट ना करें, क्योंकि हम जानते हैं उनकी स्थिति वहां पे काफी नाजुक है।
लेकिन रक्षा विशेषज्ञों का मानना है कि अगर इन लोगों को और ज्यादा वक्त तक भारत में रहने दिया गया तो फिर देश के लिए एक बड़ा खतरा पैदा हो जाएगा।
रिपोर्ट्स में आया है ये रोहिंग्यास हंड्रेड्स में नहीं, थाउजेंड्स के नंबर में आके जम्मू के आउटर स्कर्ट्स, सांबा और कठुआ में आके ये जो है सेटल हो गए हैं। और ये जो है इलाका जो है हमारे इंटरनेशनल बॉर्डर से बहुत पास है, ज़्यादा दूर नहीं है। इस एंगल से भी हमको देखना है कि ये सिक्योरिटी के लिए हमारे लिए पूरा थ्रेट बना हुआ है।
जो सबसे ज़्यादा सक्रिय ग्रुप है जो इनके साथ काम कर रहा है वो अहले हदीस का है, यानी वहाबी सल्फ़ी ग्रुप जो है सऊदी अरेबिया की फंडिंग सबसे ज़्यादा है, जिनको एक्सट्रीमिज़म की तरफ लेके जा रहा है। उन्हीं के मदरसे, उन्हीं की जगहों पे ये तालीम हासिल करने के लिए अपने बच्चों को भेजते हैं। तो ये ख़तरा भी एक बना हुआ है जिसको मैं समझता हूँ भारत सरकार को देखना है।
We've just arrived at this village, and as you can see from these fires, they've only just been lit. In fact, we bumped into the people who almost certainly lit them. Well, we only got to see a few areas of Mongdor. The extent of the destruction was staggering, though, and most of them were Muslim villages. Well, they call this place Lil Tanjore. It's quite close to the coast. This is one of the first places that the Rohingya militants attacked on August the 25th, setting off this spiral of violence that has led to so many Rohingyas fleeing from Rakhine State. And if you look all around me, this area has been completely burnt down, including, if you look just behind me, that was a clinic run by Médecins Sans Frontières. And the government's version of what happened here is that it was the militants themselves who set fire to everything here, destroying facilities that were shared by Muslims and some Buddhists here. Now, we can't confirm that, we can't speak to anyone, the place is completely deserted. As we've driven here, we've seen village after village that's completely deserted, abandoned boats, abandoned livestock, rice fields left. The few villages where there are people, there are only Buddhists who've been left here, have talked of immense fear of their Muslim neighbours. The only Muslims we've spoken to are inside Mongdor town itself. They're also extremely scared. When we asked them who you're most afraid of, they said the government.
Of all the villages that have been burnt down, have they all been burnt down by Muslim militants? Is that what we're saying? That all of them, 100%?
Okay, can we get up? Steve, can we get up?
We've just arrived at this village, and as you can see from these fires, they've only just been lit. In fact, we bumped into the people who almost certainly lit them, carrying machetes, not wanting to talk, though one did admit, yes, they'd set these buildings alight with the help of the police, their ethnic Rakhine. This was a Muslim village. Now, the government has claimed that all of the village destruction is at the hands of Muslim militants and Rohingya inhabitants. What we've seen here tells us a very different story, a story of ethnic cleansing, of driving Muslims out of this part of Myanmar.
The number of Rohingya Muslims forced from their homes in Myanmar is now approaching 400,000. The UN says it looks like a textbook example of ethnic cleansing. And the country's de facto leader, a former winner of the Nobel Peace Prize and darling of the international news media, is being seen in an entirely new light. Aung San Suu Kyi and her government are on the defensive. Suu Kyi has taken to talking about fake news and a huge iceberg of misinformation. The demonization of the Rohingya goes way back in Myanmar. The country is almost 90% Buddhist, and many there see the Rohingya as interlopers from Bangladesh. And while the relatively recent opening of Myanmar's media and internet space has empowered some new voices, it's also provided Buddhist nationalists with some new platforms to dispense fear and hatred of Muslims. As for Aung San Suu Kyi, her refusal to condemn the violence is a troubling angle for many Western journalists to cover, given the way they have venerated her in the past. Our starting point this week is the Myanmar-Bangladesh border.
Desperate last dash to sanctuary. The operation targeting what it considers a terrorist organization.
Aung San Suu Kyi, once fated as the woman who can do no wrong, now she's been cast as the bad guy.
Starting with what this story is not. It is not just about Aung San Suu Kyi.
But do you think that now and forevermore Aung San Suu Kyi's reputation is tainted?
It is primarily about the Myanmar military, the flames and bullets it is used to dispossess Rohingyas, chase them from the country. And it's about a government information campaign that reeks of propaganda.
What's been interesting about this narrative is that the civilian government and the military seem to be speaking from the same script. But the government has been using terminology like extremists, terrorists, separatists.
To make sure that terrorism is not allowed to take root on our soil or on the soil.
What that does, it appears to create this kind of hysteria, which many in Myanmar appear to be listening to, and which is fueling support for the military here.
A huge amount of the media focus has been on Aung San Suu Kyi, and almost all of it has been condemnatory. And as someone who's been campaigning for her and her release for 20 years, I'm incredibly disappointed. But she's not the one carrying out the ethnic cleansing. It's Min Aung Hlaing, the head of the military. He's not even being referred to in any of this media coverage.
The Myanmar constitution limits the power of its civilian government. Aung San Suu Kyi and her ministers do not have authority over the military, which surrendered absolute power less than 3 years ago, after more than half a century of military rule. But Suu Kyi does have the power to criticize, and she has not criticized the forced eviction of hundreds of thousands of Muslim Rohingyas, up to 80% of whom, according to UNICEF, are women and children. She has neither criticized nor condemned the burning to the ground of villages Rohingyas have called home for centuries. She has neither criticized, condemned, or even publicly questioned the role of the military in what the UN says appears to be a textbook case of ethnic cleansing. What Suu Kyi and her government have criticized are the messengers, the international news media and UN workers documenting the story, dismissing their reports as fake news, and in one case, fake rape.
Dismissal and denial of well-documented accusations and allegations and evidence is part of genocide. Genocide is not just simply like pulling triggers and burning down houses and driving people out. Genocide involves denial. And for her, as a woman, as a Nobel Peace Prize winner, dismissing the reports of hundreds of women who have been wronged and violated, and Suu Kyi dismissing them as like fake news, fake rape. That was what you read on Aung San Suu Kyi's official Facebook page, fake rape.
And that's happening in a climate where the government has consistently been whipping up tensions using social media. Aung San Suu Kyi's information committee has been posting images of bodies hacked to pieces, of what it's alleging are weapons captured from the armed Rohingya organisation ARSA, It's a constant barrage that they're putting out every day.
About the Myanmar authorities and misinformation campaigns, they're not very good at them. If you're going to hand out still images to journalists as proof that Rohingyas are using machetes on their own people and setting their own villages alight, make sure that the woman you describe as Muslim is wearing a real headscarf, as opposed to what looks like a tablecloth. And make sure that when you then take those reporters to a refugee camp full of Hindus, that same woman is not there, uncovered, or at least suggest a change of clothing. And when taking the media on tour, make sure you keep those journalists corralled, so they can't break away from the group and find another village in flames, with Buddhists there admitting they are responsible and that they are working at the behest of the police.
They've only just been lit. In fact, we bumped into the people who almost certainly lit them, carrying machetes, not wanting to talk, though one did admit, yes, they'd set these buildings alight.
The government says this is an example of us giving media freedom in this area, but it's simply not the case. You go where they want you to go to, you're followed everywhere you go by security forces, so people are too scared to really say what's happening. So the trips are useful in getting some grasp of what's going on the ground, but they're certainly not a true reflection of what's happening on the ground.
The state is feeding the domestic news media the same narrative, and it's being reinforced online. Social media was slow in coming to Myanmar. It's now booming, providing new platforms for figures such as Buddhist monk Ashin Wiritu. When he goes on Facebook and calls Rohingyas snakes and mad dogs, he has more than 400,000 followers who can spread that across other platforms. Back in the days of military rule, journalists from Myanmar fought hard for their freedoms. Some set up news outlets in exile. DVB, the Democratic Voice of Burma, beamed news into Myanmar from Norway. A news magazine called Irrawaddy based itself just across the border in Thailand, pushing a pro-democracy agenda. The magazine now operates out of Yangon, and on this story, like most of the domestic news media, has adopted the government's position. It refuses to call Rohingyas citizens of Myanmar. It calls them Bengalis instead. Irrawaddy's cartoonists depict Rohingyas as dark-skinned people cutting into the queue and suggest Bangladeshis are waiting at the western edge of the country, poised to invade. The magazine's editor, Aung Zhao, was interviewed on CNN earlier this month. His line on the Rohingyas is in perfect harmony with the state's.
Rohingya is not ethnic minority, belongs to Burma.
To present the 2014 International Press Freedom Award to Aung Zhao.
Back in 2014, Zhao and his magazine were lauded by the New York-based Committee to Protect Journalists for coverage of Myanmar that the CPJ called authoritative and independent.
Thank you so much. It's a great honor to be here.
The most painful thing about the Irrawaddy is it's run by ex-political prisoners and longtime dissidents. These are guys who have been driven out of the country into exile by the military, now ex-freedom fighters joining hands with their former tormentors to portray the Rohingyas as terrorists.
It's incredibly disappointing to see this. The media that operated in Burma under the dictatorship, they've been very bad on this issue. But the media organizations that were based in exile were much more professional, were much more balanced in their reporting. But now if you see even some of them are towing the government line, it's very worrying for the whole future of press freedom and where people in Burma get their information.
That is the media landscape against which the Rohingya refugee story is unfolding. Icebergs of misinformation from both sides on multiple platforms. Civilian leaders now reading from the same script as the generals who once locked them up. Journalists, award winners, now backing the same military that sent them into exile. Ugly caricatures, imaginary enemies at the gates. Fake headscarves, fake news, and a fallen icon at the official, irreconcilable end of a media love affair. The murder of a journalist in India and some of the online habits of the Prime Minister there have led to the birth of a new hashtag, Block Narendra Modi, and it's trending. Thousands of Indians took to the streets of Bangalore to protest the killing of Gauri Lankesh, who was shot dead on her doorstep. Lankesh was one of the very few female newspaper publishers in India. She was known for her reporting on Hindu nationalism and right-wing extremists. Her murder left some nationalist journalists unmoved. One of their tweets, since deleted, said in Hindi that Lankesh has died a dog's death, and now all the pups are whining with one voice. Another Twitter user wrote, "You reap what you sow." Prime Minister Modi, who ran on a nationalist platform, follows both those Twitter accounts. His failure in the wake of those comments to unfollow them is what led to the rise of the Block Modi hashtag. The Paris-based NGO Reporters Without Borders has condemned Lankesh's murder, saying it has deprived the media of a tough and determined champion and has deprived India of a voice that was fundamental for the country's democratic life.
Mujahid sleeps the sleep of a very sick baby. He's just 5 days old. Carried in the protective arms of his sister, the newborn is unaware of his wretched fate. He is born a Rohingya, a people despised and persecuted. His mother Rabia is sick too, exhausted after giving birth and then walking without resting for 5 days. Rabia is one of the tens of thousands of Rohingya on the move, all fleeing from a regime that is seemingly bent on the annihilation of their people. It's an endless line of misery. The slaughter is being called a genocide. Fatima Khatoon lost 4 sons on the arduous journey through the mountains. 2 boys, 10 and 5 years old, were shot dead by army soldiers. Their little brothers, just toddlers, died from starvation. Fatima's youngest surviving child is clearly very ill. Her disease-ravaged skin and deep cuts need urgent medical treatment. But Fatima can't walk any faster.
The exodus began at the end of August, but we're still seeing thousands of Rohingya fleeing across the border from Myanmar into Bangladesh. And each one brings with him or her another tale of sheer barbarity and unbelievable horror.
The aim is to get to a camp, to join the hundreds of thousands of Rohingya who have made it this far. We're a few miles from the Bangladesh-Myanmar border. This is a makeshift camp. The tarpaulins and poles throwing up a grim, temporary settlement for the people that nobody wants. The ground, still sodden from the monsoon rains, is turning into a swamp, stirred by the endless march of tired, broken feet. I meet Tayaba Khanun Nurathan. She's 4 months pregnant with her first child.
2 days later. Okay, 2 din baad ke. Okay.
Tayaba tells me she trekked for 12 days over hills and through jungles to get here. She fled her village in Myanmar as it was being torched by the soldiers. Her brother was shot in the face, killed as he tried to protect the family. They left his body behind.
There's no way for me to know for sure if the people I've spoken to are telling me the truth, and that's because the military in Myanmar won't allow independent observers into Rakhine. But what I do know is that these people are running from something.
The Naf River divides Myanmar from Bangladesh, a watery escape route from the horrors in Rakhine State, a land where the Rohingya have lived for generations. But now Rohingya like Hamid Hussein face a grim reality: stay and be butchered or flee. Hundreds of thousands have left, and many, many more follow behind. All along this border, Rohingya villages are being razed to the ground. Smoke can still be seen rising above the tree line. We saw it ourselves.
Beginning time, smoke. Yeah. Then last time, you can see.
Mohammed Saeem has witnessed the fires too.
Yeah. You can see.
And you took these pictures?
Yeah.
This is what the UN calls textbook ethnic cleansing. Nurul Kalima's feet are scorched from the fires that destroyed her village. Suffering the pain, she's walked for days on her burnt legs to cross the border. But at least she has finally made it into Bangladesh. Across the stream from this border guard's gun are thousands of Rohingya refugees willing to risk their lives to get across. They're caught between a country that wants them out and one that doesn't want them in.
I'm standing in what is effectively no man's land. This is a buffer zone that separates Bangladesh, it's just over there where those people are, from its neighbour Myanmar, across the creek and beyond the brow of that hill. Stuck between the two are tens of thousands of Rohingya, and I have nowhere to go.
Only children are allowed to cross to fetch clean drinking water. We're given permission to speak to Hussein Ahmed. He's been in this camp with his family for 9 days, living on handouts. He tells me his village is about 30 miles away inside Myanmar, but he was forced to flee with his family when soldiers came. Suddenly, there's a commotion. A warning is shouted. Myanmar army soldiers have been sighted. The platoon is 90 strong, heavily armed, with assault rifles and belt-fed machine guns. It's tense. These could be the same soldiers accused of raping and slaughtering Rohingyas and burning down their villages. They're just meters apart. A border guard tells me the Myanmar soldiers are laying landmines. He points us towards proof.
He was on the duty on the other side when the mine was being laid. They were getting messages every point. Their soldiers were talking to the walkie-talkie that they are laying mines over the fence. They saw it actually.
This village elder shows me an extremely distressing video of a Rohingya woman. She's had both her legs blown off by a landmine. The woman is then carried across the creek to waiting doctors from the charity Médecins Sans Frontières. They happen to be here purely by chance. It's why she survived.
They're tying a tourniquet on her. So this happened across in the while she was making her way from her village.
Her village to enter from her village to enter the no man's land.
These Rohingya will probably never escape their nightmare. But if they do, there is no guarantee that they will find food and shelter in Bangladesh. This is the sound of hunger. Newly arrived Rohingya refugees, mostly women with babies or young children. Many have seen their husbands slaughtered in Myanmar by soldiers. Murtzia is just 2 days old. She's a child of the conflict. Her mother, Zura Khatun, gave birth to her daughter on the road as she fled to safety. Zura tells me she's had no help, no aid or medical care for her baby. This is what starvation does. It makes people desperate. In the melee, we see Shakeen. Her grandson does his best to protect the frail old woman, but all hell is breaking loose. She can barely stand unaided, 80 years old and exhausted by her long, difficult journey across the border. She struggles to speak but manages to tell me she saw her nephew killed and her home torched.
Killed.
Keeping order is impossible.
We've been here for a number of days now, and we've yet to see any big international aid organizations working here on the ground. I'm not saying they're not here, we just haven't seen any. So these people are totally dependent on local charities. Either that, or they'll just go hungry.
So it's left up to volunteers like Muhammad, who have no experience of dealing with a crisis of this enormity.
What do you want the international community to do?
We want to ask you, the international committee like NGO, everybody come here and help them. Because of nobody help them, they are very hungry and they are very helpless. So we request the NGOs people come here to and help them.
These people have been reduced to begging, fighting for scraps. The two sides look exactly the same trees, the same paddy fields. There is no difference. But the people who live here are different. And it's this which has led to a hatred so deep that the Rohingya have been driven from their homes and their land, probably never to return.